My name is Ibrahim, and as I sit here in the quiet of my home, the years seem to stretch behind me like a long, winding road. Each wrinkle on my face, each silver strand in my hair, tells a story of days lived, lessons learned, and memories cherished. I have seen many seasons come and go, and with each one I have grown a little wiser, a little more grateful for the simple joys of life. I am an old man now, and though my hands are not as steady as they once were, my heart is full. I find myself reflecting more often, searching for meaning in the quiet moments, and finding comfort in the echoes of laughter and love that fill my memories. For 40 years, my world was a classroom in a small Tunisian town. The walls of that classroom witnessed the hopes and dreams of countless children, each one bringing their own light and curiosity. I remember the smell of chalk dust, the sound of eager voices reciting lessons, and the way the morning sun would filter through the windows, casting golden patterns on the worn wooden desks. I believed deeply in the power of kindness, in the gentle encouragement that helps a child find their confidence. There is a quiet reward in seeing young minds open, in watching a shy student discover their voice, or a struggling child finally grasp a difficult lesson. These moments, though small, are the true treasures of a teacher's life. Now, in my twilight years, I often sit in the courtyard and watch the children of my former students play. Their laughter rings out, bright and free, and I see in them the same spark I once saw in their parents. It is a living reminder that the seeds we plant in others can grow into something beautiful, long after we are gone. As I watch these new generations, I find myself thinking back to a particular story that shaped my life and taught me the true meaning of compassion. It is not a tale of grand achievements or public recognition, but rather a quiet story about a humble porter, his devoted son, and a promise I made many years ago, one that would come to define the man I became. This is a story of how a small act of kindness, given without expectation, found its way back to me when I needed it most. Life has a way of circling back, of reminding us that every gentle word, every helping hand, can echo through time and return to us in unexpected ways. Let me take you back to the dusty streets of my youth, where the air was thick with the scent of jasmine, and the calls of street vendors filled the morning. It was a time when life was simpler, but not always easy. In those narrow alleys, I learned the value of hard work, the strength of community, and the importance of never turning away from someone in need. This is the story of Adel, the porter's son, a boy whose resilience and kindness would leave a mark on my heart forever. Through his journey, and mine, I discovered that the smallest gestures can change the course of a life, and that the echoes of a life well lived are heard not in grand monuments, but in the quiet gratitude of those we have touched. Omar was a porter, strong, dignified, and my friend. His son Adel, bright and eager, longed to join my class. But Omar's poverty was a heavy burden. He couldn't afford the uniform, books, or fees. He feared giving Adel hope he couldn't sustain, believing it kinder to teach him the trade. His pride was immense, his love for his son even greater. I saw a father's heartbreak, trapped by circumstances beyond his control. I couldn't let Adel's future be decided by poverty. I told Omar, "Let me handle the costs. Your son belongs in my classroom." Reluctantly, Omar agreed, hope flickering in his eyes. I bought Adel his first uniform and books. His joy was unforgettable. On his first day, he walked in with pride, and Omar watched with silent gratitude. It was more than charity. It was a promise to nurture a child's hope. My role was not just to teach, but to protect and grow that hope. Adel was a remarkable student, curious, hardworking, and kind. I mentored him, challenged him, and watched him flourish. He balanced school with helping his father, never forgetting his roots. Our secret support continued. Omar's gratitude was ever present. Adel excelled, graduating with the highest marks in school history. His success was my greatest reward. I had planted a seed, and it had grown strong. The first chapter of his journey was complete. To continue his education, Adel left for the city. Our farewell was bittersweet, pride mixed with sadness. He promised to make me proud and never forget where he came from. For a while, letters came, filled with good news. But time and distance faded our connection. Years passed, and Adel became a cherished memory. I hoped he was thriving, wherever life had taken him. Retirement brought quiet and loneliness. My modest pension barely covered my needs, and illness struck, a heart condition requiring costly treatment. I faced helplessness for the first time with no one to turn to. My neighbor Hassan visited, bringing comfort but little hope. One day, he traveled to the capital, unknowingly setting fate in motion. A simple trip would soon reconnect my desperate present to my hopeful past. Destiny was at work. In the heart of the capital, where ambition and opportunity intertwine, Hassan made his way to a prominent construction company. The city pulsed with energy around him, but his mind was elsewhere, on a mission that felt both urgent and deeply personal. As he entered the sleek modern building, he was greeted by the hum of productivity and the distant echo of memories from a different time. On the wall, among certificates and awards, Hassan's gaze landed on a faded black and white photograph. It was their old school, a place that had shaped so many lives, including his own. The image stirred a flood of memories, laughter in the corridors, lessons learned, and the faces of students who had once looked to their teachers for guidance and hope. The owner of the company was Adel, a man transformed by time and effort. No longer the young boy from the classroom, he now stood as a successful entrepreneur, respected by his peers, and proud of his humble beginnings. Yet despite his achievements, Adel's heart remained tethered to the values instilled in him long ago. Hassan, with a heavy heart, shared the story of his former teacher's struggles, my struggles. He spoke of hardship, of dignity tested by circumstance, and of the quiet strength that had once inspired a classroom full of children. The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Adel was stunned. The man who had once guided him, who had planted the seeds of hope and ambition in his heart, was now in need. The realization struck him deeply, stirring a mix of shock, sorrow, and a powerful sense of responsibility. Without hesitation, Adel sprang into action. He canceled his meetings, closed his laptop, and instructed his assistant to clear his schedule for the day. Nothing, he decided, was more important than repaying the kindness that had once changed the course of his life. The roles had reversed, and now it was his turn to give back. Adel turned to Hassan, his voice steady and resolute, and asked to be taken to his old teacher immediately. Together, they left the office, united by a shared sense of purpose and the unspoken bond of gratitude. In that moment, the seed of kindness that had been planted years ago was rediscovered, ready to blossom once more. Adel's resolve was unwavering. He would not let the man who had shaped his future face hardship alone. As they traveled across the city, Adel's mind raced with memories and plans. He was determined to offer not just help, but hope, a chance to restore dignity and repay a debt of gratitude that could never truly be measured. The circle of giving, begun so many years before in a humble classroom, was about to close. In this moment of reunion, hope was rekindled, and the enduring power of compassion shone brighter than ever. That afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in warm gold, I heard a gentle knock at my door. I shuffled to answer, expecting perhaps a neighbor or a delivery, but nothing could have prepared me for the sight that greeted me. There, standing on the worn welcome mat, was Adel, grown, taller, and more confident, yet unmistakably the boy I once knew. My heart skipped a beat, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. He looked at me with those same bright, hopeful eyes I remembered from his childhood, eyes that once brimmed with curiosity and mischief. Now, they held a depth and wisdom shaped by years apart, but the warmth in his gaze was unchanged. It was as if all the years melted away in that instant, and we were simply two souls reunited by fate. Overcome with emotion, I reached out, and he took my hands in his. Tears welled up in both our eyes, and we stood there, hands clasped tightly, letting the silence speak for us. The weight of lost years of words left unsaid seemed to dissolve as we embraced, our hearts finally finding solace in each other's presence. Inside, Adel's voice trembled as he apologized for the time we'd lost, for the distance that had grown between us. He spoke of his journey, of struggles, triumphs, and the lessons life had taught him along the way. He told me how, in his darkest moments, he remembered the values I'd instilled in him: kindness, perseverance, and hope. With gratitude shining in his eyes, Adel credited every step of his success to the foundation I had given him. He spoke of how my words had guided him, how my belief in him had been a beacon when he felt lost. Hearing this, my heart swelled with pride and relief, knowing that my efforts had not been in vain. Then, with gentle insistence, Adel urged me to come with him to the city. He wanted to ensure I would have the best care, the comfort and companionship I deserved in my later years. He spoke with conviction, determined to give back the love and support he had once received. "You spent so many years worrying about my future, guiding me, and making sacrifices," he said softly. "Now, it's my turn to look after you, to make sure you never feel alone again." His words wrapped around me like a warm embrace, filling the empty spaces in my heart. In that moment, I realized his offer was more than just an act of duty. It was a profound expression of love and gratitude. The years I had poured into nurturing him had come full circle, returning to me in the form of his unwavering care and affection. For the first time in a long while, I felt a deep sense of belonging. I was no longer alone. I was surrounded by the love of the very person I had once sheltered and guided. The kindness I had given so freely had returned to me, sheltering me in my old age. In Adel's presence I found peace, comfort, and the beautiful truth that love, when given selflessly, always finds its way home. Adel arranged everything: hospital visits, surgery, and a new home with his family. His children called me grandfather. I was embraced as family. The surgery was a success, and I recovered surrounded by love. We reminisced about the past, and I saw the man Adel had become: kind, generous, and true. He repaid every debt, but what he truly gave me was belonging and purpose. The investment in a child's dream had returned 100-fold. My legacy lived on in his heart and home. My story proves that goodness is never lost. A single act of kindness can echo through generations. You may never know when your good deeds will return, but they will. Adel now helps other children, continuing the cycle we began. The seed I planted became an orchard of hope. Your legacy is written in the lives you touch. Start with small acts, a kind word, a helping hand. The harvest of goodness will outlast us all.